Yo, people will really sell their soul for this shit, bruh. They say they about the culture, but really, they just want to show they ass. Yo, these niggas bugging. They ain't really saying nothing, just hustling. Walk around, looking sus, and it's all just disgusting. Ew. These rappers make me sick, please pass the roller cussing. He said it's Michael E, man, get up off your knees. I believe I can fly, but first I gotta pee. He was such a G, king of flipping games, rocking the caviar, and I'm come sipping this pain, another soul down the drain. He was really just a lame, but the cult of personality is difficult to tame. Just a drug in the vein, the whole world is insane. They all swallowed up, and to me it's just a shame, and it's sad. It's academics and it's glad. We run until our business got the nerve to get mad. Be about the bad, little lawsuit is a drag. Like a politics, they said my nigga is a, come on. I'm saying we gotta do better, you know what I mean? Tell me about it. Niggas out here talking about peeing on each other and shit. Peeing on each other. What type of shit, you know what I mean? Trying to make that shit sexy out there. Ain't nothing sexy about that. Niggas talking about they booty hole and shit. That's what we at. They booty hole. That's how we gonna raise the baby. Oh, y'all do better, yo. Hang around the cesspool, you bound to get shit on. So many play themselves just to try to get on. All captivated, caught up in a trance. This life is like a party and the devil wanna dance. And you do the hustle. Now you wanna tussle and rustle. You had the records, but you ain't had the muscle to get you for your publishing. Now you caught up in the shuffle. Said you was getting the bag, but all you got was ruffles. Plus the internet's undefeated. When I see you can read it. Power's a drug and these people need it. If you keep it, it really ain't no secret. They want you for your soul, you gotta fight to try to keep it. Michael tried to tell us, but we told him beat it. And they took back his catalog like we all didn't see it. I can't believe it or be it, but you sow, you receive it. We gotta do better if the future's gonna see it. I'm telling y'all, y'all better get y'all act together. They ain't playing around. Say it in a minute, they just gonna cut it.
I'm saying, in this day and age, ladies and gentlemen, do not sell your ass.
That's a golden rule right there.
Nah, man, don't sell your ass, bro. Have some integrity about yourself. Don't put yourself in harm's way. You know, everything that glitters ain't gold.
Talk about it.
Bro, it's crazy out here right now, man. It's crazy out here.
Crazy indeed, man. And you know what?
Should be all fly till it ain't.
It looked like it's no sign of it being not crazy, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. It's like, you know, a lot of the things that we're seeing right now, I've been saying for 30 years, bro.
Wow.
And I was labeled
tinfoil hat.
Bro. Oh, Hawk, you need to get off that bullshit, that conspiracy theory shit, nigga. You down the rabbit hole. It's Alice in Wonderland. You always hitting us with these conspiracies and come on, Hawk, you get off that bullshit. And then here we are in 2026. You know, it really started to unfold, I guess. You know, I mean, the first Trump run.
Yeah.
In the second election, I guess last year, when it really started to go public, you know, the Epstein files and him being implicated in the Epstein files, all these powerful people, media heads, banking, finance heads, pause.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, everybody, and he's like, you know, it's out now. Now we see what it is.
It's out and it's crazy. I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't read a fifth, a tenth of what's in there, but from the headlines that I see and from other people's reactions, like yourself, that have read it, is all I really need to know.
I haven't really read it. I didn't dig in. You know, the files have been released. They got released last week. You know, I decided there's no reason for me to really dig in. Like, I don't want to cloud my mind with all the images and information.
Same.
Good.
Same. Because I look at some of the people that I know and love and trust faces when they are have just read it or reading it, and I'm like, you know what? Because I'm a glutton for wild, crazy information and stories, and you and I talk about this offline a lot. But certain things, man, you just don't even want to put it in your cipher.
Nah, man, you don't even want that in your psyche, bro. Like, but you know, because of social media and you know, the feed is happening, so we end up seeing it anyway and hearing it. And it's in the stream. You know, it's on turn on the news, so you're catching bits and pieces of it, and it's like, yo, you know, as deep as the rabbit hole went 30 years ago, 25 years ago, 20 years ago. Ah, man, it's deeper than we thought, bro. Way more
Yeah,
disgusting than what we thought.
yeah.
Yeah, man. But I guess,
We have a game Sunday.
yeah. Speaking of rabbit holes, you know,
Everything surrounding the game was a lot more exciting than the game itself, though. That's for sure.
yeah, definitely the halftime was dope. Shit
Yep.
was dope, you know, I gotta, kudos to Jay-Z, Rock Nation. I don't think that they've done a bad job yet. I don't
No,
think they've
no.
missed the mark yet.
Agreed.
Doing it. When did he start doing it? 2000,
2020.
2020 was his first one.
Yeah,
So,
2020 was J-Lo and Shakira in Miami.
and
And
this is number 6 or number 5.
this is number 6. Yeah, because they didn't, you know, the NFL never took a year off. So
Mm-hmm.
if memory serves, it goes J-Lo, Shakira, The Weeknd, Snoop and Dre. Then we go to Rihanna,
Mm-hmm.
Usher,
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick Lamar, and
That's,
now Bad Bunny.
yes, 6.
Yep.
And yeah, man, the imagery, the production, next level. I can't understand a word. Sorry, y'all. My Spanish is not great, even though I'm married to a Dominican who speaks fluent Spanish.
And to be fair, even if you knew a couple words here and there, you ain't catching it.
Nah. But the visuals, said it all. Like the visuals was on point.
Yeah, you understood that.
Yeah, I understood that. I got that. From the power lines.
Yeah.
To sugar cane.
Here's the thing. Here's what's dope about art. And I don't know who said this recently, but props to whoever said it recently. When you study culture and you study civilization and all that, you study the people's art, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people like myself, for what I'm about to say, who were ignorant to what's going on with the power situation in Puerto Rico,
mm-hmm.
that imagery and then being forced to kind of look into that is what did it for me to find out that that's a thing. So props to him for that.
Oh,
especially.
Man. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Oh, I'm kind of waiting to see what we come with next year. I'm excited to see how that rolls out. Yeah. And Jay-Z, again, kudos to him. Now, just to, I have a continual conversation debate with my brother Eric Nix, former president of Violated Music, A&R and manager to, everybody from Foxy Brown to LL Cool J to Busta Rhymes to, and he's close friends with, I would say close friends with Jay, but he knows Jay fairly well.
Jay-Z.
He kind of runs in that circle. And we have conversations, and I've been critical of Jay-Z over the years, extremely critical. Just in terms of, the hustler mentality, the drug dealer mentality, that being so heavily pushed on the people. What up, Pearl? Peace. Errol Flanagan in the building. Salute. But his meteoric rise as a entertainment mogul and sports agent with Rock Nation Sports, concert promoter, all these investments, you gotta salute when somebody's doing their thing, and Jay-Z is doing his thing in a lot of ways. But I found this. It was this post. Let me see if I could pull it up. There was a post where somebody in the Epstein files, not implicating Jay-Z in any of the bullshit, mind you. Now I don't pay attention to that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But hold on. Here we go. So let me see. Let me pull it up so everybody can read it because it's quite interesting. Boom. Ta-da. Let me open that up. So it says this is a little fast here. Let me go back and pause this. Let me see what we get. Okay, hold on. Let me go back over here. From the Epstein files, February 3rd, 2014, the day after the Super Bowl, Jet Staley, CEO of Barclays, one of the largest banks in the world, emails Jeffrey Epstein, quote, "You want to know why we are not Sao Paulo?"
That's Brazil, right?
That's Brazil. You know, at that time, Brazil had major uprisings, people revolting. They actually ousted their president. So he goes, you want to know why we're not at Sao Paulo? Watch the TV ads on the Super Bowl. It's all about hip blacks and hip cars with white women. The group that should be in the streets has been bought off by Jay-Z. In 2013, millions of Brazilians took to the streets against corruption and inequality. Staley is telling Epstein that won't happen here. Americans are too distracted. Pop culture has done its job. A banking CEO writing to a child sex trafficker, explaining why neither of them will ever face consequences. They think you're bought. They think you're asleep. They think the commercials worked. Were they right? Right. So I remember Jay, right after the whole Colin Kaepernick controversy, him being anointed as the producer of the halftime show, and him saying in response to Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, "Oh, I think we're past kneeling." And I always thought that was a misstep. That's something that Jay shouldn't have said because it caused division. It caused a this or that dynamic, which is kind of how they always get us. They pit us against one another, this or that, and they make you choose sides. And when, Jay-Z is as brilliant as he is, as magnificent as he is, as successful as he is, people are going to side with the money because this is a capitalist world. We've all been programmed and indoctrinated in the capitalist system. And we're going to see Jay-Z's path as the path to go. And though there is value in what Jay-Z's doing when you're beholden to the elite class, to the capitalist class, the people don't win. So when you say we're past kneeling, when you say we, what do you mean? Like we're past kneeling? No, we're not past kneeling. And not to say that kneeling, making those types of protest statements is the end all, the be all. It is not, but there's a place for it. And as we see what's going on with this current administration, with ICE, with, Black and brown people collectively, we haven't really progressed much since Colin Kaepernick took the knee. So, and I think what this guy is saying to Jeffrey Epstein is that, Jay-Z in the halftime Super Bowl keeps us pacified. What the old saying, bread and circus.
Yep.
Give the people bread and circus and they'll be content.
Which is 24/7. We're beyond the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl is a grand example of that. Because it has everything that you would want. It has, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The thing about Jay-Z in that statement when he was with Roger Goodell and whoever else was in that boardroom, when he made that statement about, I think we're past the kneeling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what his intent was, so I'm not going to explain what he meant by that. I think you're right. Like he left it open for interpretation. So however you take that, is just quite frankly how you take what he said, take the words that he said.
Yeah, well, because
But
Kaepernick was the focus.
right, but I think, I believed at the time, and I think now, my opinion of what Jay-Z's intent with that statement always was the kneeling brought very necessary attention to the problem, even though we know what the problem is, and we've been knowing what the problem is. But Colin Kaepernick, in his way, brought attention to the problem, and his intent was to take the Super Bowl halftime show and use it as a backdrop to take the baton, for lack of a better term, and go to the next thing, using arts and culture and using imagery to and use to highlight what those things are in a way that he would do it, that he knows how to do it, which is utilizing music and imagery and those things. And I think that that's true because outside of maybe the Weekend and maybe Snoop and Dre a little bit, no, but
Kendrick.
no, I know what. Yeah, definitely Kendrick. But what I'm saying is, like, J Lo had the kids in the cages in 2020 during her halftime show performance, and Kendrick. Of course, we know Kendrick did a great thing in his, but he also did it with the Snoop and Dre performance when he was, out on the field doing his thing. Obviously, you have people like The Weeknd and Usher that was more about fun and celebration of just Black culture, which is also needed in the celebration. But at the just to put a bow on what I'm trying to articulate, I'm not saying that you're wrong because that's your opinion of how you took what he said, and what he said was what he said. He never really clarified what he said, so it's open for interpretation. But I always took it as, all right, we're past the kneeling in the sense of now I'm gonna take it and we're gonna advance this messaging further using the halftime show.
Right. But the thing is, we're past kneeling. When you say we, who you talking about, Jay?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah,
You say we, who you talking about?
right.
Because you might be past kneeling. You're in the position, and the people around you are in the position to really leverage the momentum that Colin Kaepernick initiated to turn it into business. And to your credit, use the platform to make, statements and, project themes of, social criticism. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, but NFL owners don't give a fuck about us.
it's true.
NFL
It's true.
owners, and somebody was talking about, the ears and eyeballs, how having a Bad Bunny as the halftime performance, increases potential market share when you talk about Latin America, all the Latin people, Hispanics that are in America, around the world, from Puerto Rico, Mexico, South America, around the world.
Even
The
parts of
Hispanic,
Europe. Yep.
yeah, it's about ears and eyeballs to sell you something, and what they're selling you is not liberation. What they're selling you is
Well, I
modification.
wouldn't be.
They're selling
I wouldn't
you.
be so sure. Huh? I wouldn't be so sure because we don't know. We're still building the data of what's going to happen with this thing, right? Because what we do know. Here's what we do know. We do know that viewership for the Super Bowl because of these halftime shows has increased. I mean, I think it was 120 million 2020. I think we maxed out with Bad Bunny nationally at
Mhm.
135 point something Sunday, and I think the international numbers are going to be even make it even higher
Mhm.
when we're privy to those.
Mhm.
And yes, we know that the NFL owners and the NFL itself, their intent is to sell us something. And I think that Jay Z and Rock Nation and and less Apple Music, but more so Jay Z and Rock Nation's intent is to use our artists to uh, produce high-level content with messaging that reflects the way the people that they don't care about feels about it. And we've seen that consistently. Like we've seen Kendrick Lamar, we've seen Bad Bunny, we've seen like I said, the J-Lo and Shakira thing, Usher putting on for Atlanta, on and on and on and on and on. And their intent is for it to increase visibility in Latin America and otherwise. But and we don't know how that's going to translate to them saying, oh, we just showed it for the show, or we're going to stay for the football. That remains to be seen. But what we do know is 135 million people in the United States of America not only watched the Super Bowl and the halftime performance, but the conversation has extended. What's today? Today's Tuesday now. The entire conversation, even for the people that hate him or hate what that show represented, it's the center of the conversation. So the reason I say that we know it's not about liberation is because for the past 3 days, and the same thing happened last year, the entire conversation after the Super Bowl, nobody's talking about the game. Everybody's talking about Bad Bunny and Bad Bunny's messaging, which at the center of it, to your point, is bringing eyeballs, ears, and witness to the struggle.
I agree with you. For the last 3 days, everybody's talking about Bad Bunny halftime performance at the Super Bowl, while at the same time, the Epstein files are the Epstein files.
Yeah, we have to do multiple things at the same time in 2026.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, this is the capitalist structure. This is America. That's not going to change with a Super Bowl performance. That's not going to change because Hakim and Kai Will are talking about it on IZM Sports. We're not going to, empower or change the power dynamic in America just because.
Not today.
No, not today.
Not today.
And
but conversations are.
But even, in terms of like the NFL, we're talking about the halftime show at the Super Bowl. How many black coaches are in the NFL right now?
How many black coaches?
Head coaches.
Yeah. Head coaches. And now Tomlin doesn't have a job today, right?
That brings us down to 0 now, right? No?
Yeah.
No. My guy's still in Tampa.
Yes.
Okay. So we have one black head coach, right? How many black owners do we have in the NFL?
0.
Okay.
I think one Saudi or the guy, I don't know what he is, the guy that owns the Jaguars.
Yeah. So, again, and it's
I guess Condoleezza Rice is a part of the group that owns.
She ain't black. She ain't black. Sorry. And it's not like even having black ownership in the NFL is not like it's not like a power move for black people collectively. When we look at police brutality back to Kaepernick, what he was kneeling for, what his protest was about, hasn't gotten better, hasn't changed. In fact, it's gotten worse. While ICE is happening, and we're all seeing what's happening with ICE, and we're all outraged, and we're all paying attention to ICE, police brutality, as it has to do with black and brown people, legal citizens, that hasn't changed. It hasn't gotten better. There's no significant policy that's been passed to make police officers accountable. There's none of that ever happened. So it's like, what Colin Kaepernick was protesting, Jay-Z's halftime performance, though I applaud the production, I salute and celebrate him as a mogul coming from the rap world, the hip hop world, the mean streets of Brooklyn, former drug dealer turned, like you gotta salute that, but you salute it in the context of this is still racist America that uses everything we do to keep us in place. So when you say we're past kneeling, like I never thought Jay-Z should have turned the offer down, or shouldn't have been. Like that just makes so much sense to me. Jay-Z, Rock Nation Sports, it just makes sense to me. Like I was happy that he was given the opportunity to step into that position. I'm happy that he's doing what he's doing. It's just that when you say we're past kneeling, you created D'Amico Ryans. Thank you, E.
Oh yes, yeah, of course.
So we have 2 black coaches
Yeah,
in the NFL. Thank you, bro.
Well, Rob Saleh is Middle Eastern, so he's not black, but he's not white.
Well, to them he's black, but you know, he's not. If people get it twisted, if you not,
and the Jets head coach.
Oh yeah, Aaron Glenn. All right, we up to 3. All right, okay, we up to 3. Aaron Glenn, D'Amico Ryans, and what's my brother's name from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Come on, man, I can't forget that. He's from Jersey.
Todd Bowles, yep.
Todd Bowles,
Elizabeth, New Jersey.
I'm doing the show right now. I'm gonna hit you back.
Okay, sorry I missed you. Later.
No, it's all good. Yep. Yeah. So, but when you look at a league that's 75, 80% black, African American, it's like that, there should be more players, more black people in the coaching ranks in the NFL, in upper management positions in the NFL. And, how many black GMs do we have in the NFL? 2, 3,
some good ones too.
The old boys club is just that. It's the old boys club, especially in the NFL. And they have no problem reminding us now the thing with having Bad Bunny and Kendrick Lamar and, these people of color as the halftime show, it's about dollars and cents. And if it don't make dollars, then it don't make sense. So they'll use us for their profit margin, but will they empower us?
Yeah.
And more importantly, will we empower ourselves?
Yeah, and I think that's what's more important. I think more so than what they'll do for us or help us or uplift us. I think it's more important what we're going to continue to do for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I think to your point about Jay-Z, I don't really disagree with anything you're saying, especially with the phrase, because I think he should clarify. He should, even if it's 10 years later or whatever it is, clarify it. I just look at from obviously I wasn't around, but from my studying, it's always like you had the actual civil rights leaders. Let's just use Martin Luther King as one of the most famous ones, right? So you have that level. You have the performers, whether it be Harry Belafonte or Aretha Franklin or whoever it was that was the entertainer. And then you have the moguls, sports and entertainment moguls, which was Jackie Robinson. And I always thought it was really interesting how Jackie Robinson, because he was so beloved by America, blessed and talented and business-minded and rich, like Jay-Z, he accepted that vice president job at Chock full of Nuts or whatever the coffee company was in New York at the time, and took his entire salary, or I don't know if that's correct, but he took a big portion of his money from the capitalist society and used it to funnel into the civil rights movement so that they could have, things that matter, like, people, organizers getting paid, signs getting made, transportation getting provided, all of those things for the movement. So I think to the point that you just made is the most important, more so than what the owners of the NFL or any politician or anybody can do for us, is how can we get back to that time, which seemed like a really organized time, when you can have a Jay-Z who is a capitalist, use his capital and his influences and his friends to organize so that we can have a Ras Baraka and a do-it-all, align with, these, a Bad Bunny and a Kendrick Lamar to all come together so that we can use arts and culture, policymakers and legislators, and the capitalists to all come together to really make real change. Because that's what we're going to need. We're going to need all hands on deck. It can't be just, oh, well, you're not doing that. Well, y'all not, well, that kneeling not doing nothing. Well, you ain't spending your money on nothing. Well, y'all ain't rapping about nothing. Well, y'all ain't singing about nothing. Right. That's what we just do this.
Yeah, exactly. And from what I understand, there's a little backstory between Jay-Z and Kaepernick. There was a little friction between the two camps leading into that whole press conference with the NFL announcing Jay-Z as head of entertainment for halftime.
So he said that because he was a little pissed.
I don't know. Like you said, he's never really clarified what he meant by that. He said it,
Right.
but you don't know where it was coming from. You don't know if he was, pushed to say that, or maybe he had other thoughts in his head that wasn't really about how it came off. But in the end, it just created this divide of who you standing with, who you with, and then you get folks
which is effective,
who are constantly comparing and contrasting and this one over that one and what you should have did, and if you're more like this and more like that, and it's like we got to get out of the game of this versus that. We got to stop that. No, it's this and that, not this versus that. No, we're not past kneeling. However, we need people like Jay-Z and organizations like Rock Nation in pocket, in play, so we can ensure that the community is empowered. And, also to Jay's credit, he's done a number of things, I guess, for lack of a better term, putting his money where his mouth is, or just being, involved in the movement, funding the movement, supporting the movement financially,
I think they just did a deal with LaRussell.
Yeah. Well, but I love LaRussell. I love his movement, his independent movement. I love the fact that he's able to leverage the deal that he feels is fair out of Rock Nation. I'm not shitting on that at all. It's just that it's still within a framework, a capitalist framework that, ultimately is about exploitation. It's about, the money class versus the labor class and poor people. It's like, we do these things where, it's like, okay, individual Black people are getting money. Individual Black people are getting XYZ, but does that trickle down to the collective? Are we building systems, which is something I want to talk about later with basketball, but are we building systems that recreate the success? Back to Jay-Z and this person talking about basketball, U.S. basketball versus European basketball. What Jay said to Dame, I heard somebody said they created a hole. All right, go make another hole. Right? We need systems that recreate greatness, recreate,
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Without exploiting each other, without fucking, ripping each other off. The drug dealer, oh my God. The drug dealer to me is like the epitome of the capitalist in the Black community. Somebody gonna do it, might as well be me.
Right. That's literally the mindset.
Meanwhile, the world around you is fucking crumbling and fucking being burnt to it, and TNT and task force and niggas is kicking it, which was all the plan anyway. But we assist the man in being the man. We is always some niggas, helping the man out, and
It's man, it's you it's a lot. You went deep, and I agree. I brought up the LaRussell thing. Look, I mean, it's the music business, so it's predatory and it's individualistic, and it's based on a lot of things that are capitalist, right? But the reason I brought it up is because I think on the other side, what it does kind of help is it's rewarding LaRussell, but it's also rewarding a style of creativity that's not just fucking vulgar, just sex and shoot 'em up, bang bang, and drug addicted and cracked out, and it's LaRussell is not a representation of that, and I feel like Jay-Z using his platform to help platform that to Black America, young Black America, and say like, nah, this is dope. This is what we want to stand with.
Well,
can be helpful.
Here's the thing, right? When you create the market, then it just becomes, how do we exploit the market together? And this is not Jay-Z's responsibility. However, how do we create that momentum how do we support those artists? How do we recreate the LaRussells? How do we build the system? Not wait for you to fuck. Now I gotta go do it where I don't really need you. I'm just doing the deal because fuck it. I'm gonna go grab this, whatever the whatever the deal was worth. You just grab it. But I really don't fucking need you. Like, how do we get to people who need the fucking support, who need the fucking investment,
that's the thing about our culture.
Love.
As successful as LaRussell is, and he very much is, having that, for lack of a better term, cosign doesn't put him in a different, may not put him in a different position in terms of his fans or money or shows or anything like that. But things like exposure and legacy media and people that are covering him that would any other time editor might say, "Oh, what is this, indie? Like, we're not covering this. We're not talking. We're not putting this on the front page. We're not platforming this." It gives it a different level of urgency in media, and I'm pretty sure that this is how it works with somebody like LaRussell, because I've met enough editors that could care less about what's important for the empower. Like, I remember people didn't even want to platform Nipsey Hussle. I don't want to go on a tangent, but I remember Nipsey Hussle being red hot and on fire during the LA All-Star game 10 years ago. He had an album out. He was dope. What's my man from ESPN that wrote the book about him? I can't think of his name right now. But it was so many people telling editors and different people in culture, like, yo, this guy is really special. And it's in LA, and this is going on. And I remember people were saying, like, nah, like whatever. But then when he started getting more and more notoriety, success, Grammy nods, things of that nature, and I might have the timeline a little messed up there, but I just say that, and I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but I just think that it's still important and a lot of these people are in our culture. This is not white people I'm talking about. These are people that say, like, look, if Jay-Z co-signs it, then I might give him the interview, or I might put him on the front page, or I might platform, or we might give the album, or Billboard say we might give it a write-up, we might give it something, whatever. But if they don't care how successful he is. If he's indie and he's just like whatever, you know how long they call Kendrick Lamar and Tyler the Creator and J. Cole, and these guys are weirdo rappers, backpack weirdo, and like, this is a fad. Like, this is not what's dope. We need YG, Young Jeezy, and no disrespect to those brothers, but we need this and that. And now you look what happened over time. These guys are some of the most powerful people in music, in our genre.
Yeah, so it's like, because hip hop culture wasn't like that. It was made to be like that. Where there used to be a time where there was a cadre of, people, gatekeepers, who were in tune with what was happening on a very grassroots level before it popped, before it got big, before it, and we would, amongst ourselves, say, this is dope, this is hot, check for this, check for that. And then now it's to the point where if you don't get the cosign from the major, if you don't get the cosign from the premier gatekeeper, the premier tastemaker, i.e. Jay-Z or whoever, Dr. Dre, if you don't get that cosign, then, niggas ain't really checking for you. Like, you got to go, you got to go get them to say, it's cool. And, it's like, how do we get past that where it's like, no, we're fucking with it regardless.
Yeah, to your earlier point, I think systematically as a society, we've been groomed to that. Yeah. I think that's beyond music. Like, you're not going to go to, you might only go to a certain restaurant if it's getting the certain write-up, or you might go see a movie if how many Rotten Tomato ratings does it have, or who's in it, or all that. Who's in it is not nothing.
Yeah, because what I mean. So to your point, right, to that whole that context, right? Fridays didn't get fucking great reviews. Didn't matter because it was for us.
We're talking about the movie Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about TGI.
When you talk about, like, there's certain movies, I'll bring it back to music. Nigga, takes a nation of millions to hold us back when it first dropped. Mainstream wasn't checking for that shit. we was checking for it.
Right.
Trying to think of other
we're also
things
talking
that are
about over
culturally
30 years ago.
significant that wasn't about getting the cosign. And I'm saying, I'm not, the masses of the masses, the 85 is the 85, but it's even to the point where the people who are supposed to be hip hop ain't checking unless it get co-signed by somebody. And like, you supposed to be hip hop. I've had motherfuckers tell me that, I grew up in the culture. I know them from the culture. I know them having the ear on the culture. They are the go-through in terms of the cultural, validation. Say to me, nigga, I don't even listen to hip hop. I don't listen to music no more. I'm like, what do you mean you don't listen to music no more? Nah, all these old niggas still making records. Man, it's a young man sport. Like, these kids don't care about what y'all niggas is saying. And it's like, bro, they've dumbed the fucking culture down to the point where it's entertainment for children, right? They've dumbed it down. And then when we see the political mess that we're in and people really not being able to understand how to navigate, is because the entertainment industry played its part in dumbing people down, dumbing our community down, where we don't even care about certain things, that we would say something like, I think we're past kneeling. And motherfuckers go, yeah, fuck that shit, nigga, get money where the bag at. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead and chase the bag.
Yeah, no, they've done a great job, man, because again, just to bring it back briefly to media, but just to prove your point, there's so many things that get shot down depending on how old the person is, or what they think young people are paying attention to, or where they think young people are. And there's nothing, not that I've polled a bunch of young people, but just from once being a young person myself, like, there's nothing more cringy than a 40-year-old telling a 17-year-old what they like or what they think is dope, or even occupying the same spaces as them. Like, if it's a bunch of 17-year-old kids that go somewhere or do something that's dope, as soon as a bunch of 35 and up, 40 and up people are there, it's not cool no more. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. So I say that to say it's crazy. For one, it's for us to even try to do things to entertain that young demographic, because they're not. Young people are the definition of it's hot today and not hot tomorrow, because they're figuring things out. They're figuring the world out. They're understanding what they like and what they don't like. So putting money and resources and time into platforming things based on what a 17-year-old likes is the definition of no sustainability. You know what I mean? Because there's no real foundation there. You're building something based on somebody that just read something or found something out new that they never knew before because they're 17, and their whole taste changes.
Right.
And nothing more to drive this home. Why I hate that. I hate that philosophy, because nothing is more evident than nostalgia we see in fashion and in terms of music, with tapes coming back, with vinyl coming back the way it has, with all of the technology and all of the styles of music coming back. It's because how do you know they don't like the style of a Ghostface or a Hakim Green or a Tretch or whatever? They're like, oh wow, this was 30 years ago. This is how they rock. I like this. I want to investigate this. I want to look into this. And let me say this last name. I say all that to say that is built off of predatory behavior, because the people that cut the checks and the people that invest in the culture want the people to be young and naive and not know any better, and not stand next to people that know any better too, like, because then they can take full advantage and nobody's going to know the wiser.
Exactly. Colin Kaepernick kneeling and the impact is what made the opportunity for Jay-Z and Roc Nation. And it's not to say that, Kid Rock said Jay-Z was the DEI hire. That shit's disgusting. That's why we got to do a better job gatekeeping our fucking culture, and that's the fucking point. Like, that's the fucking point. Like, that's the fucking point.
What you're saying is he should have never been here in the first place.
Nigga, he shouldn't be relevant at fucking all. At all. He should have no place in rap music, hip hop culture at fucking all. But it's because we don't protect our culture that he has a voice that resonates, that unfortunately resonates for him to say some dumb shit like Jay-Z is a DEI hire. But if Colin Kaepernick doesn't take the knee, the NFL ain't checking for Rock Nation. They're not checking for Jay-Z. He actually saved them because they were going to lose viewership. A huge audience that the NFL had nurtured was threatening to leave.
Yeah. And they prioritize that audience over the TPUSA audience, clearly.
Right. And the game itself was trash, which means the NFL is not putting out a great product. Yeah. I mean, when you watch a football game or a basketball game or a baseball game, the product is the game, right?
Yeah,
right.
100%.
So if the game isn't good, the producers of the product aren't doing a great job. However,
I don't know if I agree with that though, because I don't know if I agree with that only because I think that game was horrible, but I think we can agree that these playoff games were incredible. The Bears and the Rams game.
But the Super Bowl,
all the wild card games,
checking for the Seahawks versus it was like we all knew
it was a dud.
The Trent Dilfer Bowl. This ain't No,
that was a dud.
We knew going into the Super Bowl that these two teams aren't going to make for exciting football, right?
Yeah, Saturday night I had to be reminded that the Super Bowl was tomorrow.
Right, and you're somebody who's locked into sports. You're somebody who's locked into the NFL.
Our group chat wasn't even really.
No,
we weren't.
We got to just for the audience to know, we have a IZM SPORTS group chat, and we're on it like all day. Usually arguing over LeBron and MJ, who's the GOAT. But it's football season, so we're talking about football teams, we're talking about players, we're talking about strategies and coaches, and we have those types of conversations every single day, like damn near all day on our text chat. But we didn't really discuss this game. Even now, we spent the first 50 minutes of the show discussing the politics of the game and Bad Bunny, Jay-Z. We're not talking about
what's more interesting.
We haven't really talked about the actual game because
man.
So
I'll say this though, with the game,
we just put that nail in the coffin.
Yep.
And land his plane. Jay-Z is actually saving the NFL's Super Bowl.
Yeah, agreed. And the numbers show that. Like that's not even an opinion. That's a fact.
Right. And to add on, I don't know if you saw the breakdown. I didn't see it, but the Ring doorbell commercial.
No.
So Ring doorbell, I think it's Amazon that makes the Ring doorbell.
Yep.
They ran a commercial.
One of Nas's early investments.
Ooh, get it, Nas, get it. See, the hypocrite in me, right? But
you can cheer for him. It's all.
But so the Ring camera did a commercial, ran a commercial during the Super Bowl during the Super Bowl, where it was how they have the ability to synchronize like all of the Ring doorbell cameras in a sector. So like if you have a missing dog, you can call up Amazon or the Ring camera company, whatever, let them know, oh, I'm here. And they could turn on everybody's doorbell Ring camera at the same time in real time. So you can now see the street and find the missing dog. So the dog thing.
That's what they're using that technology for real.
Right. This whole ICE thing.
Yeah.
In surveillance and, so you got all of these ears and eyeballs that are being programmed to embrace their own enslavement.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're all
it's like, we support, we invest in, we we invest in our own enslavement. We invest in our own
It's a fact.
annihilation. Yo.
It's a fact.
And
People like me and you have been
it
saying
all.
that since the Patriot Act. Like those of us that did care to speak on it back in 2002, 2003, 2004, say like, yo, this Patriot Act thing is not great. Like, I get it. You guys are talking about, 9/11 and all that, respect. But this Patriot Act, I don't think it's going to serve us well. And look where we are in 2026.
Exactly. They call it the Patriot Act. The Patriots were in the Super Bowl that year. All right, they won the Super Bowl that year with the All-American greatest of all time as the quarterback. That was the launch of his whole shit was that year.
Oh, the season started. The era rather started that year.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And not to shade Tom Brady and his ability as a quarterback, it is what it is. But the irony of all those different pieces kind of falling into place when you, in hindsight, it's 2020. So the Patriot Act, the New England Patriots, Tom Brady and what he represents, bread and circus, ladies and gentlemen, bread and circus. But this is IZM Sports, and we've committed ourselves to covering the bread and circus.
Yeah. Yo, to that point about the commercials, real quick, I don't know if you paid attention to it, but it seems like every commercial was highlighting or promoting a different AI service, which was just not fun to watch. To me, it was not that fun.
I saw an article earlier today that Zuckerberg has plans, him and others have plans on building a data center the size of Manhattan.
Wow.
Right. The amount of data that they'll be able to process and the amount of human resources that it's going to take, human resources and natural resources is going to take to make that a reality, means that so many people are going to have to suffer from water shortages, paying for water, the minerals that it takes to build something like that, the slave labor that it's going to take to produce the minerals to create something like that. And like I said, we bread and circus, we will fund our own enslavement, and
100%.
So it's, I think we're past kneeling. That cake can be sliced so many ways. I really, really want to know what he meant. What was his intention? What was on his mind when he said that? Because that was a deep statement.
If any, I don't know. hopefully he'll put it in his book one day, man. Because that was pretty. I was too vague for a statement like. I mean, it wasn't vague, but it was. You need an explanation for that. But that data center the size of Manhattan thing is really scary, man. Like flat out. There's nothing. There's no other way you could say it. I mean, like that. We already have the data of what is in Tennessee. They have a huge one that's literally harming people. I think there's one in like Texas or somewhere else. They want to put them in Greenland. I guess they'll put them out in the Midwest. When people like Andrew Yang and even way before that, people like Martin Luther King were looking at late stage capitalism in terms of economics, and they told us that we're going to be at a point where we're going to need universal basic income. I remember people looking at that and laughing like, that's for lazy people, that's welfare, that's this and that's that and that's that. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure there are some lazy people that would love to just collect universal basic income and whatever. But what people fail to realize is it's not about that. It's not about welfare. It's about the fact that capitalism is going to become so gross that in our country population is so vast that a lot of people are not going to be able to work. Work is going to be having a job is going to be something that's going to be like, wow. You're one of the
Yeah.
lucky ones who actually have a job. And the
Well,
rest of us,
or maybe one of the unlucky ones, because the only jobs available for human beings will be slavery.
yeah, that's the slavery won't be a job. You'll be enslaved.
Right. But I'm saying, like, we talk about universal basic income, right? It's just the idea that because of technology, um, automation, the digital, you don't need human beings now to do so many things, that there were whole industries where, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people were employed to do this thing. Now we don't need
Right.
hundreds of thousands of people. We need one or two people just to monitor the screen, or
Oh
to
yeah. Or
put
unlucky.
data.
Right.
Right. So if people don't have jobs there are no jobs to fill, how will people work to feed themselves? Um, and oh well, you got to start your own company, you got to start your own business. It's like, yeah, but still, I can't compete with Mark Zuckerberg's supercomputer. I can't, like, the labor itself is like you're in a competition against other human beings. Like the mass extermination is happening. And Bill Gates actually talked about that. He talked about they're going to have to decrease the world's population in order for the planet to survive. There's going to be a global collapse if we don't decrease the world's population, and you do that by diet, and that can mean so many things. Does it mean eating healthy? It means
Oh man.
creating non-foods that actually
Yeah.
shorten your lifespan.
Well, your boy Bill Gates is the person that has introduced bugs as a food source. Like he has flour, like like to bake with. That's from dehydrated worms and grubs. They have, they have different type of foods that they in their beta testing it right now in Africa. Shocker.
Of course.
You
see where they make test dummies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in South America too.
Well, no, they're in America. It's just poor people who can't defend themselves.
Right. Yeah.
No disrespect to Africa or Africans, absolutely not. But Americans aren't immune to exploitation and forced labor.
Sure. It's bad, man. It's bad. It's gonna get worse. But one thing that you said about like you being the conspiracy theorist for a long time, or being conspiratorially and thinking, however you want to put it. One thing that's, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm gonna say it's a good thing, is that those people is coming more to like 50-50, if not the norm. That more people are thinking critically. Because I remember like when QAnon was a thing, and when they were talking about the whole cabal with the Clintons and all that stuff, they were a little misinformed on who the bad people were, because they think that Trump was like the savior.
I'm gonna do you one further. They weren't misinformed. That was the play. So one of the other things that came out in the Epstein files is that the creator of QAnon had a lunch meeting with Jeffrey Epstein the day before QAnon was launched. No, excuse me, I'm bugging. 4chan. The creator and founder of 4chan had a meeting with Jeffrey Epstein the day before 4chan was launched. Right. And so Breitbart. You remember Breitbart?
Yeah. What's his name? What's the guy? Breitbart News. I know it's
right. So you remember Shirley
long hair,
Sherrod?
white dude, fat dude.
You
I know you're talking about.
remember Shirley Sherrod?
Yes.
All right. You remember the controversy with Shirley Sherrod, where she was accepting an NAACP award, and she had done a lot of work. As a result of the civil rights movement, she got a job working for the government, helping farmers to save their farms. She tells a story at this award ceremony where she was receiving this Lifetime Achievement Award. She told the story of one of her clients was a white farmer who did not want any help from this black woman, was like a very racist white man. Like he was extremely, I'm not dealing with this black woman. And, basically he was eventually convinced that he needed to, in order to save his farm, There was a government program, and if you're going to get these resources, you need to deal with her. So she ends up helping this man to save his farm, and get all this money and government assistance and whatever. So it changed his heart about her and about Black people. Changed his heart, right? Okay. There was a Breitbart news reporter at this event, took her words, because it was a video, took her words and chopped it up to make her sound like she was the racist. And then put it on Breitbart. And then that went viral. All the news media outlets picked it up that the NAACP was celebrating this Black racist. She gets a call from the White House. Her award was rescinded, taken from her. She gets a call from the Obama White House. It was like some type of reprimand or something that happened. Weeks go by, the truth comes out. Obama ends up calling her, apologizing to her, and she's like, he's apologized, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, whatever.
Damage had been done.
Damage had been done. So I tell that story just to show you how the whole fake news and lying and every accusation is actually an admittance.
Yeah.
Like how there's a whole political strategy using, Roy Cohen, who I always reference, Roy Cohen and Joe McCarthy used it. Of course, Donald Trump uses it. But there's a play where you accuse to deflect from the fact that you're the very person that is the source of the, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. They did that masterfully with the news, by the way.
Say it
fake
again?
news thing, because now they did that masterfully, evil genius, with the news, because now, as much as they say that the news is fake and illegitimate, they have Barry Weiss, who's as far right as MAGA as they can get, running CBS News. Now CBS News is okay.
So that's a whole play. That's not like that's why you said they were misinformed. Now they're not misinformed. That's a whole strategy that they're being equipped with. They're like, we're gonna run this play. And the play that they're running is an old play, but they got it like to a science on every level, where these underground social media platforms, be it Breitbart or 4chan and Reddit, and are driving the mainstream media narrative, Fox News, even how MSNBC and CBS kind of relate to, even how Stephen A. Smith, back to sports on ESPN, presenting himself in a way. All of this is like planned out. All this is like finding the people that are going to play the position that we need them to play at this moment. And it's just, it's like it's a huge mind fuck. It's a whole psychological operation that's being pulled on the American public.
Definitely a psyop. Definitely makes you question everything, which is exhausting. If you have to like look for the deeper meaning in what you're looking at. And for some people, I don't think it's far-fetched to say you and I are people that almost kind of enjoy that a little bit. It's like looking at a puzzle when you're trying to put things together, but it's exhausting though, right? Like, especially when it's serious, like if it's sports, or if it's like, what is this coach really saying, or what is the GM really trying to say behind the words? And it's like, okay, well, but nobody's dying. This is just basketball. It's just football. When it's the actual leaders of the world that we live in, it gets exhausting.
Yeah, absolutely. So all right, so let's get off that. But let's stay with the because when you talk about the Seahawks versus the Patriots, one little unknown factoid is that, of course, Robert Kraft, owner of the New England Patriots, is a Donald Trump supporter. Has donated tons of money to Trump and his campaign, and this is his boy. He was down here, big time Zionist, down here in West Palm, getting a happy ending.
He was down
at the Pleasure Palace, getting the woman, getting that his massage with the happy ending. Human trafficking. How the owner of that massage parlor, it's a woman, Chinese woman, big donator to Trump's whole situation?
In West Palm Beach, huh? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. But conversely, apparently, the owner of the Seahawks has donated nothing to Trump. There's a meme going around that says that. I don't know how true it is. If somebody has the facts of that, please.
I saw that graphic. Yeah, it had
Yeah,
a couple different things
yeah,
comparing the owners. Yep,
yeah. So I was definitely rooting for the Seattle Seahawks.
same.
Uh,
I mean, Seattle, Washington is that city, that type of city, as
yeah,
opposed to Boston. You know?
yeah. Well, I mean, Boston is a pretty, they're not happy with Trump as a city, as Massachusetts as a state. They're pretty much, I'd say, anti-Trump in Massachusetts.
Well, yeah,
For
Trump,
the
but I
most
just mean
part,
like in terms of a
Robert
very
Kraft, yeah,
like you think about cities like Seattle, and you think about cities like I've never been to Seattle, but I know, even though I know how they tend to vote, I know how New Jersey votes too. But I've been to Boston enough to be like, this is this is different.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
and I've heard what people like Bill Russell and Mookie Betts and others have had this.
Mhm.
Kyrie Irving have had to say about their time living in Boston.
Yeah, yeah.
But shout
So
out to Boston, man. There's a lot of great people up there. I'm not
yeah,
I'm
I
not
got
talking
some
about the whole
great
city.
people in Boston who are doing big shout out to Tom, Jamal Crawford, aka Uno the Prophet. Yeah, big shout out to
Salute.
y'all, holding it down. Um, but yeah, so just that dynamic, I was rooting for Seattle.
Same.
Seattle, Washington is a progressive state, progressive city for the most part.
Yep.
So yeah, that was dope to see. It was also good to see Sam Darnold win the Super Bowl because we've been
Absolutely.
criticizing that brother's game, that man's game, for a number of years. We got a whole verb, he's Sam Darnold,
Darnold.
because we want him to throw the game away and implode. But last year
Yeah.
he shined with the
He
Minnesota
didn't.
Vikings.
He didn't necessarily win this game. He's just on a
No,
winning team.
but he didn't lose.
He didn't
Yeah,
lose though. Yeah.
he Trent Dilford.
Yeah. Hey
But when
man,
you got
look,
a defense like that,
win
that's
is a
all you need.
win.
A win is a win, especially when it's a Super Bowl. And
Yeah.
but having that defense, that stout defense, to kind of know that you can kind of let them do their thing, and Kenny Walker with the third, he high MVP of the game. He went off.
Yeah.
You
Definitely
got a
deserved,
great running
man.
game. Defense is stout. Just don't make any mistakes. Don't throw the ball away. Don't get the ball up, and you'll be in good shape. And
Yep.
I think his experience kind of served him because Drake may be the first, now he don't win a rookie, but a second year QB.
Hmm.
I think the moment was a little bit too big for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think going forward he's going to be great, but
He's
right
gonna
now
be.
it was a great learning
He'll be
experience.
around.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he'll be around.
Yeah.
I think Vrabel is a great coach. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if he was up for consideration for Coach of the Year, but I'm pretty sure he was because he took them literally from nowhere to the Super Bowl. Same with the coach for the Seahawks, for that matter. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I hope we get. It's still not like I want to see them run it back next year. It's like it's not sexy, but it's
Yeah.
definitely like the Disney movie of it all is great. Like they can take Sam Darnold's career and make a nice you know
Yeah.
Mighty
Yo,
Duck style movie about it.
over on Instagram, I want to shout out J558633. He's tapped in.
Salute.
Want to shout him out. And he says, May can't read defense, can't call audibles.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't
definitely
really
not
expect
Seattle.
much. I don't really expect much out of a second year QB, to be honest with you. I just don't. Dan Marino's like
Yeah,
once in a generation, where you got somebody who's coming to the game that just knows the game and knows how to, say read defenses, call audibles, go through progressions, quickest release in the history of the game, probably Dan Marino. Like, Drake
yeah,
May's got a lot to learn, but the fact that he got to a Super Bowl, I think, is kind of noteworthy. Very noteworthy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Put the
But
whole entire AFC East on notice.
yeah. Yep. But it's good to see Sam Darnold, a veteran quarterback who's been with 5 teams.
Yeah.
Really just started to excel last year with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
They played themselves by letting him walk out the door. I think that was horrible for
Did
them.
they?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Did they?
Mhm.
They could have had the season that the Chicago Bears had this year.
Yeah, I think they would have been the favorites out of the NFC actually. The
Yeah, I
way
can
he
see
showed
that.
out, the way he showed out this past year for the Seahawks.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
got Justin Jefferson. You can't. You can't. What's the other receiver over there?
I was trying to think, what's his name? I know you got Addison. What's the other guy's name? But you have Brian Flores still running that defense. So it's a great squad. Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact,
But
the Vikings are a quarterback away from being serious.
which is crazy because they had him. They had the Super Bowl champion in their practice facility.
Man, he's wild and letting him go. But to see him, win his first Super Bowl, I think that's dope. I think it will hopefully, it will give space for other QBs to grow. Like
Yeah.
older coaches will see how Sam Darnold progressed and where he came from to where he's at now, and say, you know what, we got somebody in our building that if we support him and build him and invest in him, over time we could be in a good position 5-6 years down the line, as opposed to
Yep.
jumping ship.
Yep. Yep. I agree. That whole just get the first pick, get the quarterback, throw him out there for a couple games, and then he's not great, so discard him. Like it's a horrible thing to do. It's always been a horrible thing to do. Relying on a rookie to go to the worst team in the league and then make a difference right away. It's like once in a generation. Hardly ever happens.
Mm-hmm. Dan Marino.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yo, shout out to Sam Darnold, man, because along with everything else that we already know about him and with the career that he's had and what he's gone through, as far as we know. Now, I'm pretty sure the blogs are checking through text messages and tweets and things to see, but as far as we know, a great guy, man, just a great human being, somebody that shows humility. Because I don't think there's not too many professional football players in the league that went top 5 in the draft that would have been a backup for Brock Purdy and and when he was in Carolina, I think he was backing up what's his name, Baker, and then losing his job to an unproven rookie just last year. To have the humility to endure it all and go out there and still perform and win a Super Bowl, man, that's the stuff you want to raise young men, young players of any sport. Like that's the humility you need.
Absolutely, and young players out there, take note. Patience, stick to it.
Patience.
Yeah, I don't like the word believe because believe implies doubt. Knowing in yourself, knowing you have the ability, knowing because you've done the work, because you've studied, because you put yourself in a position to learn all the possible variables, like that you can do it, and believing in yourself. There you go. But yeah, man, dope.
I gotta jump here though, Hop.
Word.
Gotta run to the next. Gotta run to the next duty over here.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you hopping in. Everybody else seems to be missing the action today. E won't be on. Wes is I don't know what Wes is doing, and Cliff is having still tech problems. So hopefully he'll figure it out soon. But I appreciate you, my bro, and we'll get it in next week.
Yes, sir. See you next week. See you on the Madism text exchange.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, brother.
All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna promote MadismInc.com. So I need everybody to go over to MadismInc.com. We got music, we got gear. You see what it is: sweatshirts, t-shirts, long sleeves, short sleeves. All we do is spark Madism on the back. Mad IZM on the chest. We got the baseball tees. You see what it is. We got the muscle shirts. You know, we got the gold foil, regular tees. And like always, don't sell your ass. And you see what I'm rocking, right? Mad IZM. So going over there, check us out. And with that said, peace and love, y'all. I'll get back at you next week. 1.